Good morning.
Welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna show you how I make this hard Afrobeat slash piano for Rima. I'm not gonna lie, for like the last 2 years I've been getting more into Afrobeats, and for real, it's probably better than hip hop to me. Maybe it's like right here. I don't even know for real, but it's just like a whole different vibe from hip hop. At least the mainstream one, cause mainstream is in hip hop you talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill this person, I'm gonna rob this person, ooh, I got 5 chicks, and that's cool, but hearing that all the time, I'm like, nah. But with Afro beats and that stuff, it's a lot of it's good vibes for real. That's what I like about it. Anyway, I've been listening more to Rima, and I heard his, I think it's called Heist. I'm probably saying it wrong, but that album was heat. I'm not gonna lie. And some of the songs in there, I'm like, you know what? I can definitely do that. This is one song called Ozeba. I think it's the song where he's like, I ain't giving a hand and he ain't gonna bend anybody. Anyway, the Afrobeats on that album sounded a little bit different than the usual Afrobeat. The melodies weren't the generic guitar or mallets type of thing that you hear in Afrobeats. It was more I guess westernized. Is that, I'm probably using the wrong wording for that, but it just sounded just different. So for this beat that I made, right, I said, okay, bet, let me try something different for the melody and do something completely off the wall. And that's why I got this right here. So I'm gonna show you how I made this beat, how to make something similar with the melody. It's gonna be a fun time. Let's get into it. Yo, I'm not lying. I just bit into this apple and this thing is soft. What the hell is a soft apple? Don't forget to like and comment so to help out with the algorithm. And go ahead and comment who's your favorite Afrobeats artist. So you heard the beat, and it's definitely not the usual Afrobeats beat or piano beat that you will hear. This is more like a heavy metal sample, I guess you can call it. And it's actually pretty simple to remake. So the root of the melody is this guitar right here. It's the doubling power chords out of Omnisphere. And this is what this sounds like. So the reason I like this a lot is that with this preset out of Omnisphere, when you mess with the velocities, it gives it a different sound, and it makes it sound a lot more realistic, like an actual guitar. And that's what gives the bounce in the guitar. The bounce that I wanted was dun 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 dun. So pretty much I guess every third is gonna be an accent to the melody. And if you also listen to rock or metal like I do, then you can tell that in a lot of the songs, this is a similar bounce, or just it's like a similar idea that they'll do in rock songs, like the dun, 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 dun. So to make something similar, literally all you gotta do is just find a root note. Let's say that you want to start with F, right? Now let's start with C. All right, so like I said with the velocity, when you go up, get that. When you go down, right? So we're gonna start around somewhere right there, and then let's just go ahead and copy this over. Boom, 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 and then we're gonna bring these down, and then copy this over. Yep. Boom. So just like that, we got a very simple guitar bass. So for that, since it was already kind of beefy, it didn't need any effects to it. So like I said, that's gonna be the basis for the melody, as it's gonna play for most of the whole beat. So now we gotta add some layers to it, and the layers are so simple, you're not gonna complicate it at all. So pretty much I use 3 layers of this Evolution Strawberry guitar. Pretty much it's like a rock. It's a pretty good bank for doing rock leads or just heavy electric leads type stuff. So this is what this sounds like. So the key with this is just making sure that it's repetitive and catchy. Literally landing on a root note every single time on D, and then having some notes right here just to kind of give it some more variety. Sometimes I like to add in passing notes to my melodies. And then the key part too is that having a note that's added scale just to make it sound a lot more suspenseful, because it is like a rock and roll sample type beat. And I think that to make it sound even more hardcore, you're gonna have a note that's in the harmonic scale, meaning that it's still in the scale, but it's gonna sound more tense in the ears, if that makes sense. So for effects, we have on a guitar rig, and I'm not gonna lie, guitar rig is a very fire plugin for adding different stuff to your guitars and different sounds too. I'm not gonna lie, it's an all-around good plugin. So for guitar rig, we have on the wide and crunchy preset. So without guitar rig, it sounds like this. See how much life is taken out of that, but when you add it onto that, a lot more texture. And then we have an EQ to cut out some of the low mids so it's not too muddy. So like I said, this part is very simple because we're just layering the same sound at different octaves. So that was the low guitar. Now we have the mid guitar, and for this one, I copied the same pattern, but I just put it up by 5 notes. So now we're at the 5th. This is what that sounds like. Same thing for this one, same guitar rig and EQ, cut out the low mids. Then we have a high one just to give it some more flavor. This one I just copied it up an octave, and this is what this one sound like. Same thing. So now we need a bass to go along with the guitars, and for this one I went to Scorby Rickenbacker bass out of Contact, very reliable bass. I went to the Cruncher preset and laid out this pattern right here. So for this pattern, all that I did was that I copied the same pattern from the first guitar onto this one, but to give it a little bit more balance and some difference to it, I just took out some of the notes so it's not playing the exact same thing. Now we get into the high guitar leads, which is my favorite part of the beat. So we got 2 of them actually. So for the first one we got one that I made by myself, and the second one we got Arcade, because you know Arcade is,
I would have had this when I was maybe 20, I probably would be a billionaire right now.
So I went to this Virtuoso Bank in the Arena Blaster preset, and I'm like, dang, some of these sounds is fire for real. I had to use them. So I'm gonna show you what I use. I use this sound right here. Like I said, in my mind, I'm making a heavy metal / rock and roll sample, and so I'm thinking, okay, what do I usually hear in a rock song? I'm like, okay, they definitely use solos / high fast guitar leads. So I'm like, yeah, this one is definitely gonna work for that vibe that I'm going for. So for that lead, I have on a guitar rig with the same wide and crunchy preset. Then I have on the EQ to cut out some of the lows and some of the highs, and then some reverb with some ROM. So that's the first pattern, which I use that for the bridge / the verse of the beat. Then I have one that I use for the chorus. It's like the same premise, but it's a little bit more simpler in my opinion. I went to Evolution Strawberry out of Contact, and I made this pattern right here. Yeah, that thing kind of crazy for real, and I'm not gonna lie, when I made this, I didn't know what I was doing for real. I just did some random stuff and it sounded good. But I think that to make some similar if you wanted to, is that you wanna, bro, how do I even explain this, bro? I think that it'd be good to think of like a very simple and catchy arpeggio pattern, and then just repeat that, and then switch some of the notes for, you know, for different bars. So for example, if I wanted to start with A, right, maybe I might go down like A, G, and then E, D, and then something like this. So I'm gonna copy this over and then probably make this a little bit longer, but let's see how this sounds. Okay, so yeah, so I guess doing something like that will work then. Just think of a simple pattern and then copy it over and all that good stuff, and yeah. Don't worry, as the channel grows, I'll explain stuff a lot better. For that one, also a guitar rig. Last but not least, for the melody, we got this preset out of Arcade from the Nightmare bank. I'm not gonna lie, this bank it has its perks for real. I want to go for like something to give it a lot more suspense and a lot more texture to it. So I wanted like a scream, like a scream or like a siren. I'm like, that would add a lot to the melody. So I found this preset out of Nightmare, and this is what I got. I don't know what it is, but like that just screams like Rema based off his last album. It's just too fire to not use. So that's the melody, and this is what that sounds like. Yeah, definitely sounding like some rock and roll right there. So now we get into the drums. Let's get into it. So we got the generic I'm a piano kick, which sounds like this. Simple 4 on the floor. Then we get some rims to go with that. So we got this first one right here. Very simple pattern. That's the first one, and then a lot of it's just layering and then finding pockets that will make the drums have a lot more bounce to it. So we got this snare right here. We got some more rims to layer. I think, yeah, it's the exact same pattern. We layer again with the exact same pattern. We layer again with the exact same pattern, but with a clap this time. I'm no expert on making I'm a piano slash Afro beats, but I think when it comes to me is that I like to make my drums sound loud and powerful. For it depends on what vibe I'm going for, but for this vibe I'm like, okay, the melody is pretty hardcore, so I want the drums to match that. So I want it to be something that's like loud, aggressive, and hard for real. So I think that layering with different sounds is gonna make it sound how I want it to sound. Now we have another snare. Then we have another perk. Now, even though there's a lot of drums that's layered in the drum loop, there's still a lot of space left for different stuff to add. I don't want to add too much stuff like in every space of the beat, because then you won't have any space for the shakers or for the vocals. So speaking of shakers, got this shaker right here. When it comes to I'm a piano, I love to use shakers that have perks in it because it just adds some more texture to the drums. Then we got some open hats. So now we get into one of my favorite parts, which is the log drums, because you can't have a I'm a piano beat without log drums. Alright, so I'm gonna show you, and then I'm gonna do my best to explain how I made this and how to make something similar. First step, I think that's good to start off simple with the log drum. So start off with the bass note slash root note, which is D. So, you know, get that D going, pause. Okay, so now we got some simple, we got the root notes and some extra notes. Now what I do is I go ahead and add some more bounce to it by making chops in some of the notes, making rolls, and going higher up in the octaves. So let's do something like this. All right, so I just made something very quickly to give you an idea of what I would do to make something similar. But like I said, start simple, add some chops, add some rolls, go higher up in octaves, and you have yourself a good log drum pattern. For a fire log drum VST, I would definitely suggest log drum VST. Literally, if you go to producersources.com, it should be on there. It was like $20. Definitely a fire plugin. So that's the first law drum, and then we also have a second one that I use sparingly in the chorus to give it some more accents. This is what this one sound like. For this one, I just added some distortion to it to make it sound a lot higher and just distorted. Then last but not least, we got the fills and the sound effects for the beats. So we got some different fills just to give it some transitions. Of course, you gotta have those. We got some claps, of course. Then we got some extra textures with the siren effect. I thought that was pretty fire. Sounds like this. That just screams, oh yeah, it's time to make a mosh pit. And that's the beat right there, so I'm gonna go ahead and play that. But before I do, you made it this far, thank you, I really appreciate it. Go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow my socials and everything like that. Let me know what you want to see next. And like I said, comment who's your favorite Afrobeats artist. And yeah, that's about it. Make sure that you're drinking your water and have a nice day. Peace.